Welcome to Rose Island, a link to the past. As your tour historic Rose Island, imagine crowds of visitors enjoying this bustling summer playground in the 1920s and 30s. Discover how people traveled to the park and visited places where they ate, slept, and played. The Portersville Bridge, that bridge, was relocated to this site in 2011, providing convenient pedestrian access to Rose Island today. But in the 1920s and 30s, it was not so easy. Visitors arrived by ferry or steamboat at the boat landing and opposite ends of the amusement park. Some visitors parked their cars along the creek and paid only a quarter to walk across the suspension bridge. How exciting is that? However, area flooded, washed everybody away, and that's the flood line at 12.5 feet. Oh, cool. A summer playground becomes a natural preserve. The peaceful wooded retreat you see today was once a bustling summer resort called Rose Island Amusement Park. During its heyday, thousands of people came to enjoy the fresh air, amenities, and amusements of the resort. From boom to bust, Rose Island had returned to a natural state. Rose Island flourished during the 1920s and 30s, providing city dwellers an escape from oppressive heat and sooty, coal-burning stoves. After the Great Depression of '29, attendance declined. The flood of '37 sealed the park's fate. Rose Island Amusement Park never reopened and slowly returned to its natural state. Fern Groves becomes Rose Island. Before Rose Island Amusement Park opened, these 118 acres bordered the 14-mile creek in the Ohio River were called Fern Grove. In 1886, Fern Grove was a popular site for picnics and church outings and featured the Fern Cliff Hotel. David B.G. Rose bought the acreage in 1923 and renamed it Rose Island. Rose developed the peaceful picnic grounds into Rose Island Amusement Parks, a major tourist destination for residents of the river of Louisville and Albany and Clarksville. What is this? In the middle of
To select a message, please press the button and continue turning the handle. Para seleccionar un mensaje.
Oh, button.
Rose Island. Rose Island hosted 135,000 visitors annually during its heyday in the 1920s. The 1937 flood destroyed the amusement park, and it was never rebuilt. During World War II, the property became part of the Indiana Army Ammunition Plant. Then, in 1995, the state of Indiana created Charlestown State Park, a 2,400-acre recreation area, including 860 acres donated by the U.S. Army, and what was known as the Rose Island Amusement Park. During the Ohio River Great Flood of January 1937 surpassed all prior floods during the previous 175 years of the Ohio River Valley. The overall scope of the flood surpassed the major floods of 1884 and 1773, and geological evidence suggests the 1937 flood outdid any previous flood. 70% of Louisville was submerged, forcing 175,000 residents to flee. 90% of Jeffersonville, Indiana was flooded. As you tour Rose Island, look at the flood marker on the vertical posts. The markers illustrate the level of the 1937 flood. As you get closer to the Ohio River, the flood markers are higher. Imagine the amount of water that covered Rose Island. At Louisville, the crest of the 1937 flood was a full 10 feet higher than the second highest crest set in 1945. At McAlpin Lock,
I need a kid in my life to turn that thing. That's the Ohio River. Look, I found it. How exciting. Yay! I found it. Dum, 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 dum. Old metal stuff still laying around. Nature reclaiming everything that once was. This used to be the dance hall. This was a fountain in the dance hall. How cool. See? Dance hall. Rose Island Dance Hall. Flappers in fashion. What you gonna do when there ain't no jazz? Doing the Charleston. Look at that. Young men and women of the 1920s put on their own stamp on style. Ladies with short bobbed hairstyles, close-fitting hats, short skirts, and long beads were called flappers. Men in raccoon coats carried ukuleles were dubbed shakes. The perfect ending for the perfect day. For guests at Rose Island Resort, an evening in the dance hall was the perfect end to a summer's day. While live music played, couples waltzed and tangoed across the dance floor. By the 1920s and the early 30s, new dance crazes such as the Lindy Hop and the Charleston emerged. Did you know that before the 1920s, it was considered scandalous of dancers to even touch each other? It also doubled as a skating rink during the day. They had an organist who would play music for the skaters. One of the favorites was the Skaters' Waltz. They would clean the floor off and put dance wax on the floor for the dancers. How cool is that? Oh, the pool. Who wants to go swimming? It's crazy. The concrete swimming pool was said to be one of the first filtered water pools in the Midwest. Water was pumped in from either the 14-Mile Creek or the Ohio River. The pool was so well constructed that the water held for many years until it was filled in for safety reasons after the Great Flood. At a time when homes had no air conditioning, a dip in the Rose Island swimming pool was one of the most ultimate ways to cool off on a hot summer's day. Swimmers would climb into a round platform in the pool center and spin around and around, or even use nearby trees as diving boards. The Rose Island staff enjoyed guests and helped accommodate those who arrived without a swimming suit. They would rent you one for the day. Could you imagine renting a bathing suit from a public facility? No, thank you. Pretty gross. Lifeguards were only paid $5 a day up into the mid-30s. The zoo at Rose Island. Zoos and exotic animals were popular amusement in the early 20th century, and Rose Island was part of the trend. Monkeys, raccoons, wolves, groundhogs, and alligators were among the menagerie. Of the best-known resident of this tiny zoo was a big black bear named Teddy. Rose Island's black bear was named in the honor of Theodore Roosevelt, the 26th President of the United States. In 1902, the president refused to shoot a chained bear while on a hunting expedition. so popular that Roosevelt's toy bears were created to celebrate the event, and so was born the teddy bear in honor of Theodore Roosevelt, aka Teddy Roosevelt. A Louisville street after the flood. 70% of Louisville was underwater following weeks on heavy rains. The Ohio River swelled its banks of the Great Flood, ranging from Pittsburgh to Cairo 3. The flood was considered one of the most powerful of the 20th century. Louisville was hit hardest among all the Ohio River cities. The Great Flood of 37 destroyed Rose Island Amusement Park, covering it in 10 feet of raging water. Though the park was closed when the flood occurred, Rose Island never opened. The Weather Bureau reported that the flood damage in Kentucky was $250 million, which was an incredible sum back in 37. The swimming pool shown here, overgrown and in disrepair, survived the flood, however, was filled in to protect visitors to the site. It was 60 years past before another flood of this magnitude was seen on the Ohio River. The hotel, which is where I'm standing right now, had breezy river views perched at the base of the cliff, but well above the high water mark. A quaint hotel offered grand views from its location just north of the Ohio River Gateway. Guests enjoyed cool breezes from the hotel's verandas and comfortable rooms. The Rose Island Hotel in earlier days, however, has two tales. One account states that Mr. Rose modernized the old Ferncliff Hotel and renamed it the Rose Island Hotel. Another story states that Mr. Rose covered the White Hotel in dark green paint and made it a home for his employees. The largest steamboat of all, carrying up to 4,000 passengers a day to Rose Island. The steamer America was one of the largest steamboats in the country. At 286 feet long and 83 feet wide, the America was often chartered for clubs, churches, planning annual picnics at the resort. An adult ticket as a child cost $15. Catching a steamer to Rose Island, families eager to escape the heat in the city looked forward to a trip to Rose Island. They woke early, packed a picnic, and headed for the riverfront to catch the steamer. Jammed with people, the steamboat ride, completely with music, was part of all of the fun. As they arrived by boat, visitors enjoyed an elegant welcome as they passed through the iron gate mounted on the native stone pillars. Above their heads, an electric sign beamed Rose Island's name for miles up and down the river. Gothic-style iron lamps flanked the entryway, and lighted gravel walks branched out in all directions. And there they are, right there. A charming summer home with porches overlooking the Ohio River, 20 quaint cottages were available for rent as summer homes, just 100 feet from the river. The 4-room bungalows were charming and comfortable with a fantastic view. Summer-long residents could catch a motorboat from Louisville at no charge. Meals were available in the lunchroom or in the restaurant. Oh goodness, another one of these. Don't work. Look how the bark just fell off of that tree and literally just laid over another one big huge sheet of bark. This apparently was where the dining hall was. Right here on the river. The dinner crowd on Rose Island Restaurant could seat 500 guests at one time. An equal number could be accommodated on the outdoor dining room and the dance hall, bringing the total seating to more than 1,600 at one time. On the menu would be fresh eggs, milk, butter, cream, all supplied by the Rose Island Company, which owned hens and a herd of Jersey cows and a dairy. This abundant farm fresh dairy products were luxury for many of the city dwellers who visited Rose Island. Fresh caught fish, such as bass from the Ohio River, was a menu staple. Did you know that 50-foot by 100-foot rectangular shaped depression on the ground was actually the dining hall? But I'm not climbing through those brushes. Just look at it. Nope. Another fountain for visitors to enjoy. An old picnic table. How cool. Wonder how many family memories were made there.